Greetings everyone. I believe it's May the 18th and I'm out looking at some trails and as you can see it is currently snowing, which I'm pretty excited about because I'd like to eke out a little bit more skiing this season. But the main thing I'm wanting to look at is, where trails got worked on last year, what still needs to be done. We had what we called the Summer of Swampy. Central Oregon Trail Alliance, CODO, did the Summer of Swampy last year, kind of focusing a lot of work on swampy area trails. They're hard to get to, shorter season, a little bit more remote, so they don't get as much work as other trails in the network that are closer to roads. I'm on the Swampy Loop Trail itself. You see the roadbed that's up above me here that forms part of this loop, both summer and winter. But I'm down on a section of single track, and my observation is that it got no water management last year, and that is, one, I'm not seeing drains at all, but two, this particular route is telling me that as well. As you see, it's getting undercut, and anytime we see that undercutting, that is a good indication that there is in fact some water running this trail for probably a long distance, enough distance that it's picking up volume and velocity, and the two V's are combining to have kind of a washing out and water-based erosion effect. The route itself is fine. It certainly is within compliance in terms of a mandatory obstacle for this particular difficulty rating. We fully anticipate that uphill riders, because that's the way we are, we avoid it by going over here. Downhill riders are probably in this area here, taking that as a little drop off. But we definitely want to get out here and get some water management on this section of trail. We're going to turn around and walk a section below us. And again, we can see the snow is kind of highlighting a rivulet, which is a formation of water-based erosion. And we follow that really distinctive white line. And that's the rivulet, and we can see this trail is below grade a little bit, not horrible, but it is below grade. And as we walk down, again, we're seeing absolutely no water management whatsoever. So we need to start uphill and work down. Still no water management. And oftentimes on these kinds of long stretches of trail with no water management, we will see the erosion, water-based erosion, which is soil loss, and then somewhere we will find a sand puddle. In clay-based soils it would be a mud puddle, but in our sandy soil, ash, it's going to be a sand puddle, and that is where the water eventually slows down and is dropping out its sediment load. I haven't come to a sand puddle yet. I've got a little bit of sand deposit here, but nothing bad. But again, that sediment deposit, we're starting to get a little bit of that effect right into this area. It's very soft trail tread that I'm standing on now or walking on. That soil deposit, we can't just go and shovel out that sand and call it good. We have to work on water management uphill from that location, which is where the true problem actually exists. So this is a great candidate for getting out and getting some water management on it in the form of rolling grade dips. Just turn around one more time and take a look back uphill. You can see that, it's not steep, but it's got a little bit of downhill gradient for sure. But more importantly, it has a relatively large trail tread watershed. A trail tread watershed is everything that can drain onto any given section of trail. And the trail is the lowest point in the landscape, therefore that's where the water is going to go. And the trail is also in a distinct ravine, so you can see here, trails in the bottom and then the landscape goes up. So water in this direction tends to flow down in this direction. Water up this hill and then off of that road as well tends to drop down into this trail. Not the best location for a trail in terms of it's in the lowest point of the watershed. Another factor is the logging activity that has happened in here has increased runoff. because there's less vegetation to absorb moisture. So anytime you have a timbering project that thins the forest, it removes that canopy from overhead, and that allows for more splash erosion in a heavy rainstorm. And overall, because there's less vegetation on the landscape, it doesn't absorb as much, and so there is a bit more surface runoff. So this is definitely something to put on our list to take care of as soon as possible. Thanks for listening.